How's your day been?
I'm sorry?
I said, how's your day been?
Good. Good.
All right.
It's a Friday, so we're looking forward for the weekend.
Right.
Awesome. Okay, you have any questions, you know, for your prep for the call?
I think I had some that I wrote that I can't even find it. Well, I mean, I just maybe I don't know. I can't find where to put my questions. Maybe kind of like maybe like just kind of talk through like the day to day day to day activities of as a SOC analyst, like just kind of talk through.
Mm-hmm.
But apart from investigating trade, do they do any? Did they do something else?
Okay, let me share my screen. So there is a good article online from GB Hackers, like, you know, how to build and run security operations. So, so you know what SOC does, right? So they have multiple SOC operations, cybersecurity operations, emergency response team, incident response team, and XYZ. So that's what they do. Mission operation, you have continuous threat analysis, network and host scanning, countermeasure deployment, security policy architecture. That's what, you know, you do preventively to prevent an attack, right? You monitor and detect analysis, you respond to confirmed incidents, you provide situational awareness and reporting cybersecurity incidents, and you provide engineering support as well. When you say engineer, sorry, go ahead.
I say your screen, but you're not sharing yet.
Oh, are you not? I am. You're not seeing it? Ravi, can you see it?
Yes.
Now, I think, yeah, now we can see.
Oh, let me do it again then. Let me know when you see my screen.
Yes.
So you see mission and operations tempo. That's what you see?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. So this is an article which says how to build and run security operations. Okay. So this talks about like what is SOC, primary composed of a security analyst organized to detect, analyze, and respond and report to and prevent security incidents. Right? You're basically analyzing is you're monitoring and detecting and analyzing and responding to security alerts or reports or security incidents. Right? Your analysis is all about trending and pattern analysis. Like, you know, what is happening, why is it happening, did I see it earlier, and what do I need to do after that, right? So, but you know what SOC basically do is they are computer incident response team, they are SOC operations, incident response center or emergency response center. So they are the first responders to an scene of incident. Like when an incident really happens, SOC is called the first time, right? So what is the mission of a SOC? Prevention by continuously analyzing a threat or monitoring response and providing situational awareness and providing engineering support. Engineering support, why? Because you will have security tools which your only would know how to fully configure and utilize, right? It's like, you know, if you have Splunk or any other SIEM, a SOC guy, a SOC engineer would know what the tool can be best utilized for, what features are available which you can configure for, right? So you do that. So in a SOC team, there are tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and a level managers. Tier 1, alert analyst, continuously monitor the alert queue, like what you asked yesterday. What does an L1 do? What does an L2 do? So your L1 does continuously monitoring of alert queue, triage security alerts, monitor the health of security sensors and endpoints, right? So they look at the alert, they triage the alerts and find out what needs to be done for this alert and direct to the concerned team members, which is L2 or others, and also look at whether the tools providing the alerts like your SIEM, IDS, IPS, EDR, antivirus, proxy, email, anything for that matter, which is providing you these alerts is healthy and providing you the appropriate logs. Because if your logs, if you don't see the logs, you'll not see any alerts coming in, right? So that's what L1 does, right? The L2, incident responder, performs deep dives into an incident analysis by correlating from various data sources. So once the L1 provides you an alert, like, hey, L2, can you handle it? Based on the team size and the structure of the team, L2 can look at it, saying that, you know what, please look at it. I think I've done my analysis. And L2 performs a deep dive analysis. He correlates, identifies, does a trend analysis. And if he finds anything, he'll probably start initiating the incident response plan. Similarly, with your subject matter expertise, which is the SME for the team, L3. So anything which L2 can't handle, L3 will handle. Right? Usually L3 are the one, or the senior subject matter expertise are the one who does the proactive understanding or looking at the log to find out what bad things I'm seeing, like a hunt for a bad thing. So their job responsibility is to have full knowledge on your network, endpoint, threat intelligence, forensics, malware, right? What we spoke yesterday. He needs to have full understanding on these topics so that he can look for bad activities in your organization. And then the SOC manager, right? Then, so you see here, simplified SOC tiers. Your tier 1, open tickets and closes false positive, basic investigation and mitigation, right? Tier 2, deep investigation, mitigation, recommendation changes. Tier 3, advanced investigation, preventing forensics, everything else. So that's how a SOC will usually be set up. So whenever you join a SOC from a fresher or for the first time, you will be at the tier 1 level, right? Okay, process. By defining a repeatable incident triage process, like the SOP, standard operating procedures, which define how do you handle an alert. Bless you. So how do you define an alert? How do you investigate an alert? That the investigation steps are given to an L1 so that he's not wasting his time understanding what the alert is, but he knows exactly what to do. So you create a definable process where repeated alerts or normal alerts can be handled and investigated properly. Then comes your technologies in SOC. So in SOC, your SIEM is the primary, it sits at the center point of it. It is the primary tool which you'll use for, and SIEM is for what? Data collection, aggregation, detection, analytics, and management solution. Right? So your SIEM, endpoint, network, and others are the ones you'll primarily be looking at. Yeah, and then so if an interview, if they ask you, you know what, how do you consider this activity is bad, right? If they say, how do you confirm this activity is bad? You can't say that, right? So all the time, what you need to do is understand what is a baseline. Baseline in the sense, what is a normal level of activity? Like establish what normal looks like, right? If in your house, what is a normal situation? You have your parents, your brothers and sisters, and a dog moving in and around the house. If suddenly you see a new person, what do you think? You'll ask a question, Mom, who is this guy? Or you go and ask him, who are you? Because that's not the normal person who will be who you see every day out.
Right.
So he stands out from a normal. So in an organization, you need to understand what is normal from a user perspective, from an application perspective, from an infrastructure perspective, from a network traffic perspective. So understand what is normal. What is your baseline? Right? If somebody is shouting in your house, that's not a normal level. You'll say, why are you shouting? Because that's against the normal level. That's not usually what happens at your house. Right? So you will need to answer that. Okay, I'll need to first understand what is my baseline number, what normal looks like. If somebody asks you, how do you create a use case to identify something abnormal activity in your firewall traffic? So you say, for me to look at my firewall traffic, I need to understand what is normal traffic looks like. In a day, what is normal looks like. For that, I need to understand what my normal in a day, what the traffic looks like. In a week, how my traffic looks like. In a 30-day in a 30-day period, how my traffic looks like. In a 90-day period, how my traffic looks like. Right? Over a period of time, you'll make a baseline number. Oh, in a 90-day period, I saw average of 10,000 hits a day. That's your baseline number. It means on an average, you can see per day that 10,000 is the limit, is the normal amount of hits you can see in your firewall. If in a day you see more than 30 or 40,000, which means it's 2 or 3 times more your baseline number, you'll go and find out what's really happening here, right? So similarly, you need to understand what is your normal level of alerts, activity, user activity, application activity, firewall activity, system activity in 90 days, in a longer term, and then understand what's the average, split that average like per hour, per every 6 hours, per every 12 hours, based on criticality of the source, what you're looking at, right?
Right.
Make sense? You confused?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay. Yeah. So then you have, how do you make a informed decision? You always have threat intelligence, because like IOC is what you mentioned yesterday, right? You will want to see if somebody is hitting an IOC, right? Somebody is accessing a file which is malicious. That's your threat intel. You'll try to utilize your threat intel, open source, or like integrate in your SIEM solution, or use it outside for querying purposes, right? So then a SOC team can be types of SOC: internal distributed SOC, where it's distributed across multiple geolocations. And then you have your small security team, which is like a standalone, which does basic activities. And then you have internal centralized SOC, which is you have at one location, you have the entire SOC for the entire organization, like what I handle in my organization. So there is only one SOC which runs out of India, and that I manage the SOC operations. Right? Or you can have internal combined distributed and centralized SOCs. So what happens is at one location you have the head office, and in the other satellite offices you will have 1 or 2 guys from the SOC team who will work for their site. They'll be responsible for their site. Example, okay. If you see here, collaborate with technical leads, engineering operations service desk, application, and BISOs, right? BISOs are nothing but business information security officers.
Okay.
So these are, IBM is a large organization. They can't have one SOC, standard SOC, managing the entire IBM office. They need to have local security teams as well. A local security officer who can coordinate with SOC, saying that, hey, you know what, I am, say good luck is the BISO for business information security officer for Texas office. And Ravi is sitting in the central office. Ravi is a SOC manager for IBM SOC at, say, suppose India or somewhere else. So he calls good luck, saying that, hey, good luck, you know what, I saw a security incident for a user in this particular department, and his name is this, and I think his machine is this. You will go and coordinate with the user on the ground to understand what really happened there, and help out SOC in terms of emergency cases. Make sense? You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what happens when you have distributed and centralized SOCs. And then you have coordinated SOC, where can be, multiple SOC, multiple locations. You're coordinating with multiple teams, and all that things. So what SOC does? What is the capability of SOC? Real-time analysis, intel, incident response, artifact analysis, tool lifecycle, audit, scanning assessment, and outreach. Right? So you does all these things in a day-to-day activities. So you do real-time monitoring, you have intel and trending, you understand what are the bad actors, what are the bad IPs, what are the bad hashes, bad domains. You look at all those things, try to map against your traffic and figure out what's really happening, right? you have your incident response, right? You have your tradecraft analysis, which is the MITRE tradecraft, tactics and techniques and tactics for an adversary, what it does, how it does. So you will go and you'll understand that, you'll review that. And SOC tool life cycle, like if you have tools in your team, in your organization which SOC is using. So SOC is primarily responsible for understanding and getting the best out of the tool, and basically asking for better configuration, right? So operation and management and border protection devices, like include the updates of change management process, device policies, and everything else is what your responsibility would be. Because at the end of the day, you want to use a tool and you want to make sure that you are getting best out of the tool, right? As I said, you will be the one who will be sensor tuning and maintenance of IDS IPS sensors. That's what you need. Like if you see a false positive signature triggering, you'll want to go ahead and say that, please suppress the signature. We don't want to see it. Or you see that, what I think this is specific to my organization. I want to create a custom signature to identify specific activity, right? That's what you'll do. I'll ping you this link. Probably you can go through this one. Yeah. SOC and understanding the cyber attack kill chain. So you need to read this as well. So why kill chain, right? So kill chain is nothing but the way attacker tries to attack you and how you think in that way. Right. So what does attackers think? First their target is to deliver a malware, right, to your computer. Once they deliver the malware to your computer, what they do is they'll move around your network and see who else is there in your organization which I can compromise, right? After that, once they have it, whatever they're looking for, they'll start exfiltrating data out of your organization. These are primary three, but in a cyber kill chain, there are 7 steps, which you can look and talk about it. So delivery of malware, how does delivery of malware happen? Commonly used email attachments. You have this, right? You have RDP. Probably I'll take a session for you on all these things. But if you want to really read, you can go through this. This is a very, very, very good article. And let me ping you this.
What's the difference between threat hunting and kill chain?
Okay. So kill chain, you will use kill chain to hunt, right? Okay. Let's say suppose there's a bad actor, right? So you got an alert at the last level, data exfiltration stage. Now you are hunting for how the attacker came in, right? So you will use the kill chain steps to do the reversing of it. So attacker does this, you do this. So when you get an alert, or even if you don't get an alert, say suppose, okay, now you're looking at a new attack, which people have asked you. What do you think you'll do? If I give you an IOC, what do you think you'll do? I give you an IOC, which is IP address and a hash of a file. What you'll do? You'll take this, put it in your SIEM or Splunk and search whether have I seen communication with this IP address or not, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you're hunting for. You're hunting for, did you see traces of that any bad actor delivering something to my organization? And you will also use the cyber kill chain to investigate as well, or to use the cyber kill chain in your investigation steps. So if you have 3 stages of cyber kill chain, or again, these are basic phases of attack, you will also look for, okay, I see data exfiltration. Okay, what did really happen here? Was this the actual source, or was that other machines which are compromised? You look for that lateral movement from an attacker. After you understand that how the attacker was able to laterally move, then you'll understand how did the attacker come in the organization first, right? And then you look for open source intelligence, you'll find out, you look for, and then you identify, oh, you know what? There was a phishing email which was sent to, which people reported. Did I get that phishing email? And when the phishing email came, how many people received it? What was attached in the email? What was the link attached in the email? From there on, you'll look for it. So you'll use the cyber kill chain to basically triage or investigate an alert. Also, you'll use your cyber kill chain to tag your alerts, saying that, okay, I see an alert where the one source is one machine is trying to connect to other machines and trying to copy some files. That's lateral movement. You'll rename the alert saying that, okay, suspicious activity seen from 2 machines or from this machine. And you'll tag that this attack could be, tag that alert as lateral movement. Then you'll know, okay, this alert is more about lateral movement. So let me go and investigate further what really happens. Make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So hunt is for hunting and then trying to put perspective in from a cyber kill chain. So you have an artifact or you're looking for a specific type of attack from a specific bad actor. You know what the bad actor is famous for. So you look for those items in your logs. So suppose you found those active items in your logs, the bad actor trying to scan your environment. So what you do now is you put that perspective in cyber kill chain. Now I saw a discovery scan. Do I see this guy trying to send any emails which fit his modus operandi of that attacker, which can be a phishing email with a specific theme or a specific attachment, right? So you look for that phishing email now. Oh, you know what? You found that phishing email. Oh, this guy was trying to deliver a malware, right? So you know the cyber kill chain phases, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know the delivery mechanism. So now you know that the attacker tried to deliver the email. What did happen after that? Do I see the next level of stages as well? What did the tool do? What did the attachment do? Was the user able to open the link and then download additional files? If he was, what did really happen? So you will use the again, to your answer, threat hunting sometimes can be used, again, cyber kill chain can be used to hunt, but cyber kill chain is primarily used for triaging and understanding what the attacker is trying to do and how did he end up coming into my own organization.
Right.
Yeah.
Then
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. Don't worry.
Oh, go ahead, that's okay.
Yeah, I want to ask, so what sort of abnormalities would you look for to identify a compromised system?
Okay, so the compromises can be you are seeing suspicious outbound traffic from an endpoint, right? So that can be traffic going to unknown IP addresses, right? If the traffic is if your endpoint or laptop is connecting to a suspicious IP address, which you don't have and there is no browser connection, you're not seeing browser connection there. It means you're not using your browser to connect to the traffic, but your system is communicating to it, right? The other thing is, your office documents making outbound connections, right? When you run netstat on your laptop, you'll know, okay, I see these all IP addresses, but okay, I think I don't recognize this IP address or the IP address in association with that port. So if you see that there's a connection to 8.8.8.8, not on port 53, but on port something else, right? So if you know 8.8.8 is Google DNS, and usually Google DNS traffic will only connect to port 53, but why suddenly your machine is talking to Google DNS and to an abnormal port, right? One second. So that's one area. If you see files, applications or files running from your temp locations, right? So if files are running from your temp locations, right, not from your downloads or not from your other locations, you're seeing executables are running from temp locations. That's abnormal, right? And then you see your schedule manager, right? Your task scheduler. You have a new entry in your task scheduler, right, which you have not recognized for, which you have never recognized, right? That's an anomaly you want to look for. And then if you have yeah. So again, you know, you look at your run entries, your registry entries, run. So these are the things which will run whenever your system starts. If you see a new entry here, run and run once, right? If you see a new entry here, which is suspicious, you want to look at it, right? So there are multiple ways for you to spot an anomaly. Probably you can look at the cheat sheet. Mm, malware analysis using analyzing a document. Oh, you know what? I'll tell you what. Hold on. So you can go to the SANS posters, and there is something called as Windows Forensics. There is something called as Hunt for Evil. Let me, one second, let me log in and then come back. Yeah. Yep. So now you're looking at Hunt for Evil, right? So this is your process tree. So now you're looking for exactly this. How do you spot hunt for evil lateral movement? So you look for event sources, registry file system. You look for registries. So map network share, look for remote desktop, map for network shares, look for PS exec, you know, if you, yep, sorry. Yeah, but you look at event logs 4648. You look for, you know, PS executable, which is a PS tools window, you know, which is freely available tools which will allow you to remotely connect. So what will you do? You look at prefetch, right? You look at events, then you look at schedule task, you look at services, you look at WMIC, you look at PowerShell remoting, right? That's one thing. The other thing is your, are we looking at hunt for evil? Yes, sorry. Yeah, now I think this is not the one. This one. So you look at this one, Windows forensic analysis. So file download, what is the locations you look at, right? Email attachments, where you look at email attachments. Skype call, browser artifacts, what is the location of browser artifacts? Downloads, where you look at it, right? For that matter, program execution, how will you see it? Like user assist, where you will see the program executions. Shim cache, last visit MRU, right? Your jump list, recent apps, where you'll see what are the recent apps that it was ran. You'll see background activity monitor, BAM. How do you see prefetch? Last visited, and then you deleted files or file knowledge. How do you know which file was deleted? Thumbs.db, Windows recycle bin, and network activity on physical locations. So time zones, you want to look at what is the time zone, what is the network activity. You can look at from these registry keys. Browser search terms, where can you look for browser search terms, right? Then you can look at Windows LAN activities, system resources usage. What are the type of system resources we're using? Cookies, where you can see folder and file options. So if you go through this, you'll know what to look for. And I want you to practice this.
Okay.
Do you think this helps?
Yeah. So do you just do you just go and look for this, or you feel there's a compromise? That's when you start looking for it.
You can go and just casually go and look for it. You don't need to hunt. Only when compromise you have to look for it.
So if you go to work in the morning, you can, if you don't have an alert, you can just be looking, start looking into this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can. I mean, like this is good for knowledge, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is good for knowledge. So not every time you will be perfect to look at all these things, right? You will have to identify what is the best places to look for based on an alert.
Oh yeah, okay, that's based on alert. So okay, I was wondering, like, if you come to work in the morning, or there's no alert, are you just gonna start looking into all this, or is when there's an alert, there's when you're gonna start?
No, you will look at this when there is an alert. Like all these areas will only give you when something is wrong or you want to spot something, right?
Okay.
If you don't have an alert, what I would suggest is go and look at what alerts have triggered in your previous shift, like, or when you are away. What alerts triggered? What did you do for that? Who handled it? Right? Something like that.
Okay. That makes sense.
So look at this. You have got a lot of beautiful posters in SANS. You have got your leadership, security resources. You have your industry controls. Smartphone forensics is there, but results in second. The command line, Eric Zimmerman's, right? This is a good poster. He's a fantastic guy. A lot of command line shortcuts he can give you. AppCom, shim cache parser, bstring, event command, prefetch parser, shellbag explorer, and come on, okay. Yeah, like all the jump list explorers or registry, amcache parser, or lot of things are there we can tell you, but you can explore this, or we can together explore this. Right, this is your web application. Like, what do you look for a web application? Right, errors handling logic, or data protection, or authentication. Develop strong authentication, implementation, input output handling. Right, what you will see, and then cloud security. What is that you are looking for a cloud? You're looking at public API security, your certificate security, workload configuration. So good things that you'll know. You can just read about this and get an understanding. If you want to dig deeper, you can go dig deeper into this.
Okay.
So
like this what's it called, capability maturity model, do you know something about that?
Capability maturity model, CMM, yes.
Well, is it part of stock? Is it something that cause I saw it somewhere that someone was asked had question there, how does it apply to SOC?
Okay, so see, it's again CMM capability maturity model is nothing but is a phases how your SOC becomes stronger and stronger as they improve themselves over a period of time, right? So if I talk about CMM model, so the capability we developed to model to create an statistics. Okay, what? So capability maturity model methodology develops and refines an organization software development process. This is again, they might say that it's a software defined, but let's look at an image to really understand what they're talking about. So you have an initial, you have repeatable, defined, quantifiable, and optimizing, right? Let's put a SOC. When you set up a SOC, SOC is at the initial stage, where process is unpredictable, poorly controlled, and repetitive, reactive, right? Correct. Yeah. So now they are, when they set up a SOC, they're still trying to get an understanding of what is what. Like, oh, what my data sources are, who can talk, who can I talk to, what my tools are, how my alerts are, and everything else. At a level 2, they have process planned, they have SOPs, they have documentation, they have performed the incident response, right? And again, at this level also, they are often reactive because they're still maturing. There might be some type of attack that say they might have written some basic level of use cases, and they had some process in place, but they're still improving, right? At third level, they're maturing level. They have matured from initial to defined level. They have well-defined processes, right? They have standard procedures now. They have set of tools defined to do specific activity, right? Now they are proactive. It means at the defined level, at the third level of CMM, they are defined, they are proactive. They are not reacting to an alert, but they are proactively handling an alert. It means even before an alert triggers, they are trying to review it, hunt for it, and then solve it before it happens. Or go proactively look for a compromise, right? Or look for a misconfiguration, like search for something bad, and then proactively identify that anomaly and then work on it. At level 4, this is they have almost automated everything. Like they have properly defined teams, they have proper defined documentation, they are absolutely running fine. They have absolutely understood their environment. The alert will only trigger when there is some anomaly or abnormality in the environment. Only then the alert will trigger, right? And the team is fully mature and they know what they are supposed to do, right? And they are now moving at next level of security operations, which can be like zero trust model or anything like that for that matter, right? Where they are much more advanced. They have malware analysis team, they have threat hunters, they have they have got threat intelligence team who are dedicatively gathering threat intelligence, right? At defined level, they don't have that luxury to have that many individual teams. At an optimized level, all these teams are optimally trying to gather and then provide the services and also share their services with other organizations. Now they're innovating new things. They're identifying new things and saying that, oh, you know what? We found new malware, or we found new activity that this activity leads a compromise of certain type of technologies. Now that they're absolutely mature, they know what they're doing, and they're even innovating or going beyond the traditional realm of SOC, and they're finding out more stuff. And that's how CMM will apply to SOC.
All right.
Did you understand that?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I mean, I was in my head. I was thinking, do I have to start knowing initialization, repeatable?
No. It's a way of maturing a SOC from so on the day one the SOC is set up. It can't be matured, right? Because the people need to understand how, what, where is lying, what the tools are there, what logs I have, what technologies is there, what I need to protect, how big my team would be, how need to I work 24/7, should I work 18/5, what my skill set would be, what is the requirement from my organization, how much they can spend. All these things are involved. And once you have an understanding, you're looking at stuff, then you create a repeatable process. And based on your understanding, based on your understanding and your feedbacks and your investigation, you'll say that, oh, I need this tool, or probably I need to create this process. I should do this. I should find this, something like that.
All right, that makes sense.
Awesome.
Should question I wanted to ask? I wanted to ask, what they like, what was the difference between cybersecurity in the cloud and on-prem?
Okay. So, so if example, let me break it down first, right?
Yeah.
If you buy a car, or let's take an example of a car. If the car is at your home, whose responsibility is that to secure the car? Is it the showroom's responsibility, or is it the responsibility of you to secure the car?
It's mine.
Right? And if the car is in the showroom, whose responsibility is to secure the car? Is it yours or the showroom's, or the
showroom?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So now you understand, if you have your tool or your data in cloud, who do you think is responsible to secure your data? The cloud provider.
But doesn't that depends on the is it SLA or something like that that has to do with?
Yep. So again, when I say it's a responsibility of the cloud provider, it's not the full responsibility. It's, I mean, like, wherever the data is stored physically, he needs to secure that. Right. And next, if you're on-prem, you have the responsibility to secure data. When an alert really happens, since the data is not under your control, or whatever is happening with your data, you need to have a cloud provider. You need to have a SLA agreement, or agreement between you and the cloud provider, what he will do and what you will do. Right? For example, for a DDoS alert, if you're seeing a DDoS alert in your cloud provider is responsible for protecting it. Because where is your application hosted? It's hosted in the cloud. Right? But again, it also depends upon which cloud model are you using. Are you using infrastructure as a service, software as a service, or platform as a service? So what services are you using? Based on that, you will have to have an agreement with your cloud provider. But if the application or the data is hosted on the on-prem, you are responsible for everything in there. It makes sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay. Again, between the cloud provider and you'll have to have a lot of agreements. Like, you need to clearly understand what's your incident response process in cloud. First, you need to understand what can happen in a cloud. And if it does happen, how do you need to react?
Which of them is better though?
Obviously cloud, because it's cheaper.
Cloud is cheaper, right?
Obviously cloud is cheaper. On-prem is extremely expensive, right? So again, you have heard the concept of Devops, right?
Yeah, yes, but I don't know much about it.
Yeah, so fine. That if you've heard it, that's fine. So Devops is nothing but continuous integration and continuous development. Continuous development and continuous integration. It means every time the organization is not developing an application and waiting for 6 months to reach the next version. They're constantly developing the application, constantly releasing small upgrades to the application, right? So if you see Amazon, your app, or if you see Walmart's app, it constantly changes. Do you think you'll get a message from Walmart saying, what, our app will be down for next five hours because we are doing an upgrade? Have you seen that ever? No. Because they constantly push the code updated, and when the next time you log in, you'll see a brand new UI with so much good features. How that happens? Because of continuous integration and continuous development and continuous integration. It means only in cloud that is possible. Only in cloud that is possible. On your on-prem resources, if your entire data center is on-prem, it's very difficult and it's highly expensive. Not highly expensive. It's extremely expensive for an organization to use DevOps in an on-prem environment, because they don't have the flexibility to create virtual environments at a rapid scale what cloud can do it. For that, they need to have a private cloud, which is again expensive because they need to entirely manage the private cloud, right? So it's best what they do is they'll use a private cloud like Google, Azure, or AWS, where the entire infrastructure is managed by the cloud provider. I will only use whatever is required for me. And it's a shared responsibility. They will take care of the hardware and the infrastructure and providing me the virtual infrastructure, and I'll only build my virtual infrastructure. That's it. And whatever I build in that virtual infrastructure, it's my responsibility. But your infrastructure and the virtualization technology, which is running on the physical server, is the cloud provider's responsibility. So that's how you'll have to think about it.
Okay.
Again, cloud security in cloud is extremely different because of multiple factors. Because in cloud, you will not see IP addresses. You will see IP addresses, but more than that, you will see unique IDs, which is assigned or tagged to a resource. And the incident response in cloud is completely different than a traditional security, because they call it a serverless. They have got containers. They have got virtual machines. Virtual machines are spinned up. They have crashed down. How do you secure that? How do you ensure that your images are not compromised? Your key vault is not compromised. Your data loss prevention is enabled. So there are a lot of things within the cloud which differentiates it from the physical infrastructure, on-prem infrastructure, for your sake.
So, but wouldn't a hybrid be better?
Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is, and sometimes it is not. Right? When sometimes it is good when organization is looking to control some information, right? So let's just, let's take an example of Coca-Cola, right? Do you think Coca-Cola will store its secret recipe for making that drink on the cloud?
Oh no.
Example, right? No, what they'll do is they'll set up physical servers in their own organization and store it there, and they'll provide you very limited access. But yeah, they will provide connectivity from the on-prem and to the cloud for easy integration and data flow. The connectivity would be there between the on-prem and the cloud, but they will want to do it. But if they think that no, cost is a primary drive for me to use my infrastructure, then you'll start shifting it to cloud. Because I'll tell you what, last organization where I was working, they don't have their own data center. Everything is in cloud. Yeah, they have some switches, servers in a small server room or small data center in their office, but it's not a data center which you will call in a typical sense. But these are all connected to your cloud as well. Yeah, most of the organization will go the hybrid route.
All right. What are some of the KPIs for SOC though?
Your key performance indicators can be multiple. Let's look at here. So KPIs in terms of metrics, right? So you want to track your metrics is some of the KPI, number of devices being monitored, right? Total number of events, what you're seeing, which is your events per second in your SIEM. Number of events per device or per host, right? A number of events seen per service or application. I'll ping you this so that you can refer it later. Right? Number of events per account, number of events per location, time of detection, time of resolution, number of analysts assigned, escalation levels, event sources, right? So some of this will tell you different items, like how many people are involved, what is the workload, analytical, process procedures, detection and success, and something else. So this could be one of your KPIs. You see the CMM model here?
Yeah, yes.
Yep. So initial manage. So you'll have to improve on that. So metrics should be free and easy to calculate. Half of all SOC collect metrics according to SOC survey. There should be quality to compensate. Metrics aren't necessary. Service level objectives, expectation messaging, data sources, ticketing, SIEM architecture, SOC code repository, SOC budget, existing resources, CMM levels. Example metrics can be your, what is that? Yeah. Absolute number of percentage of coverage, kill chain, layers of security, devices covered, manage versus wilderness, monitoring and SLOs, how many alerts have you handled it, what alerts came in, whatever handled in an SLA, how many incidents came in, how many alerts came in, how many were converted to incidents, how much time it took, how many users were impacted, do I see unique users coming, right? This is talking about high level. Yeah. Yeah, you see the percentage of phishing email opened by users, phishing email informed by end users, normal intrusion attempts, successful backups, restoration issues, number of change requests, number of unauthorized access, security awareness training completion rate, outage results, right? Percentage of outage due to incidents, average password length in the IT system, probably not much, but device inventory and health, a number of lost or stolen corporate devices, number of new threats identified, vulnerability aging, defensive effectiveness rate, number of known vulnerabilities, attack and threat frequency, virus infection activity, virus metrics, open port grades, peer-to-peer file sharing. If you see, then you see risk assessment scoring, disaster recovery, value of your security investment, something like more or less like that. So this also can be useful. So you can pick and choose as to what you want.
So this KPIs is are they the same for every company, or your company chooses?
Chooses they choose. Right, probably one of the common things would be, large increase or decrease in the incidents reported. You want to know how many incidents came in and whether there's a spike or decrease in the incidents, right? As I said, total number of incidents received, and what is the impact of this incident as well. How much did it impact? What did it do when it happened? Right? How much time it took for you to solve an incident? Right? Was there a downtime? Was there a compliance requirement? Right? Did you breach a regulatory requirement when something happened? Was there an impact to customer or not? Right? So you want to see those. So a number of systems with known vulnerabilities, SSL certificate issues, volume of data transferred to a corporate network, super user level access with people with super user level, what are they trying to do? Number of days deactivity credentials are using, right? Frequency of third party review, communication on ports during different times. Or what you can do is, based on the data source, you can split it like here. So if you know that this is your perimeter, what did you see from your perimeter? Oh, I saw 15 IDS IP, 15 IDS IPs alerts for a specific application, also are false positive. Then I saw anti-malware alert, like from my firewall itself. Then my email gateway said that there were 25 phishing emails reported from a perimeter. Then you'll go and say that from a network level, I got from web proxy, I saw 10 users going and accessing malicious websites, right? And then I saw alerts for remote access, right? Then I saw my IPS alert from my network resources. What did happen there? Somebody was accessing something. Then from endpoints, my antivirus says that the endpoint, there are 15 alerts from an endpoint which triggered saying that something was there, out of which only one turned out to be an incident because it really compromised that alert, right? Advanced threat protection, data loss prevention, IDS, host-based IDS IPS. You'll have to define how many alerts have triggered for these things. And then application security. My web applications, how many alerts did I see for my web applications? Did I see a WAF alert? What was a WAF alert all about? Data security, probably not really our area, but something we'll have to figure out. Like how many database alerts did I see? Do I see an access management alerts here? Do I see somebody misusing my public infrastructure, or data integrity was lost? Somebody accessed the file location or somebody modified the file, right? So this is also good. This information is very necessary for you to understand, right? To understand what is the different layers, your perimeter, your network, your endpoint, your web application, your data security, your policy, and your SOC controls. So under SOC controls, what do you say? Okay, how many incidents did I get? What are security measures? What is the recommendation? What is the forensic analysis? How many threat intelligence did I analyze today? Or okay, I gather around 10,000 new IPs from multiple open source intelligence threat intelligence sources, and then I submitted it to the vendor for blocking. That's a proactive threat intelligence what you're doing. That's a proactive control what you're doing. So you want to mention those in the metrics. So metrics can be defined and given based on what your organization is looking at. You can come up with 10 or 15 different varieties of KPIs, but what appeals to your manager or what meets your management's requirement is what you need to know.
Okay. That sounds good. Well, I was gonna ask for this. So, what's the best? Like, what's the best way to prevent a DDoS attack?
So you need to have a vendor, have a DDoS vendor like a Cloudflare or Arbor Networks who can defend that. Again, but for that also, I think we talked about here. Key DSF while mitigating an effect. Terminate unmonitored connections at process and router and tune the IEA service. If it's possible, switch to alternate sites or network using DNS and other mechanism. Black hole DNS traffic targeting your original IP address. If the bottleneck is a particular feature of an application, temporarily disable that feature. If possible, add a server or network bandwidth to handle DDoS load. Right, so increase your workload, increase your load capacity. Right, if it's possible, route traffic through a traffic scrubbing services provided by DNS routing changes. Right, if adjusting defenses, make one change at a time, and what causes changes. Configure egress filter to block traffic to your system. May send in response to this one. So I'll send you this link. Probably you can use this. Just go read it. right? So at this point of time, there is no one right answer to do. There are multiple steps which you need to do. And that's what this guy has mentioned here.
Hmm. Well, I guess there's nothing like there's no like anti-malware that can prevent the DOS attack because
So
I mean
DDoS is not a malware alert. You need to understand that first. DDoS is a network-based attack.
network bases.
Yeah. So network, there is no anti-malware solution on network, right? It's only on the endpoint. And DDoS will never attack an endpoint. Why do you think he will take so much effort to attack one machine or laptop or desktop? No, he will try to use DDoS to impact an organization, hit an organization.
SLA is it
Mm-hmm.
I know SLA is service level agreement, but I thought that's been done by the company
No,
with
there are internal SLAs, there are external SLAs. Internal SLAs is within the SOC team or within the team itself, saying that if you get a high severity alert, you have to handle an alert within that 1 hour minute. That's a service level agreement within the team, which the SOC team is agreeing that they should handle an alert in a specific time frame. External SLAs is what you will tell customer clients as well. So you have internal SLAs, you have external SLAs.
Oh, okay. So is that the time the SOC will handle the alert or report the alert?
I'm sorry.
Is that the time is that the time frame to report the alert or resolve the alert?
Like either it can be so it's like SLAs can be let's say suppose you have uh, for a critical alert you have 1 hour SLA. That means 1 hour SLA is for the entirety of investigating. For entire investigation you'll just have 1 hour, but that SLA will be split, saying that if you see a high severity alert in the first 5 minutes there needs to be a response that yes, SOC is looking into it, and right, and then you need to spend next 5 to 10 minutes L1 needs to investigate and gather the information, and within the first 5 minutes he has to escalate it to, or within the first 10 minutes he has to escalate it to the L2 or L3 based on the severity, and then they will take care of it.
So like if the P1, what's even P1?
Again, P1 is also the same levels, P1, P2, P3. So P1 can be a low or P1 can be a critical based on the organization definition.
Oh, okay. Based on
Right? Yeah. So if P3, like, if I say, I can say that, oh, this is a P1 alert, I am not really worried because P1 is for me is a low, P2 is medium, and P3 is critical. I can say P3 is also low, P2 is also medium, and P1 is also critical. So if there's a P3 alert, which is a low information alert, then I'll have 4 or 6 hours of SLA. But if it's a P1 alert, I'll only have 1 hour SLA to investigate and to remediate or contain the infection.
so like 30 minutes is enough to actually investigate and contain the alert?
It can be. Again, that's what I'm saying, right? Based on the alert. So if you have a virus alert, you can say that, oh, you know what, I know what to exactly do. 30 minutes is what I can give you to handle an alert. Right? So that 30 minutes is inclusive of your notification, investigation, triaging, talking to multiple team members, and submitting out a report. Not a report, but at least containing the infection. And after that, you can start writing your incident summary, talking to different team members, and find out what really happened here and everything else.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
Cool. Okay. If you don't have any questions, if you have any questions, sorry.
Aaron, SQL injection. SQL injection. Well, what are the best way to actually prevent SQL injection? Is it just? But I know that you have to do like sort of input validation.
Yep.
But so is that like the best way to actually prevent? I know input validation still also work for cross-site scripting.
Correct.
So, well, for SQL, what's the other best way to prevent SQL injection?
So if you have if somebody is trying to do a SQL injection, again, as you said, the data input validation is the best one. Is the first solution which everybody will say that you need to validate what input is coming, right? And then not to run the queries, not to run the exact query, right? There needs to be some validation of the query itself, right? So when you do an input validation, your website, when it's requesting a website, it'll come, understand the URL, and then will rip up out what you do is what's the term I forgot. Yeah, you have an intermediary service which looks at that command, and then only when it understands what it needs to do, it'll run. It'll go and verify and run the command. Else, it'll convert it to a default and then say this is an error. Okay, let's look at it. SQL injection. Use prepared statements, use stored procedures, whitelist input validation, and escaping all user supplied input. Right. So if you know the escape characters.
Escape characters, no.
Yeah. So there are some escape characters like // or star or something like that. When you see that, you use escaping all user provided inputs. So if you see that your query or SQL query has to be built in such a way, like a parameterized query or prepared queries. If your query is not looking like the same thing, you deny it. Right? Again, input validation. So you need to validate the input what is coming in, and then escape whatever the user supplied inputs are there. Right. So what you do is you provide in the username and password field, you provide username and password, and in the backend, your website takes the data, puts in a query, and then sends it. If you think that the format has changed, something was forced in by the user to add a new character or something like that, you'll start escaping that. Prepared statements, right? So if an attacker were to enter Tom is equal to 1 to the parameters query would not be vulnerable and would instead look for a username literally matching this one. So you say parameterized query. You're not asking SQL to process it, because whatever you are, if you don't use parameterized query, what it does is it considers as a command. So you can use this link. I'm pasting it in the Google chat here. So you can use this Java prepared statement. So you can prepare a statement and then send it. Right? Then stored procedures. Stored procedures are not always safe in SQL injection. However, certain stored procedure programming constructs have some effect as a use of parameterized queries when implemented safely, which in the form stopped. Okay, this requires developer to build a SQL statements with parameters which are automatically parameterized unless the developer does something largely out of the norm. So you can look at the parameterized query, callable statements. So you can use a stored procedure and say that whenever some request comes in, you call a different procedure to fetch something else instead of running the SQL query itself. Escaping user supplied input, right? You know, how do you do that? The use of ES API dayback, okay. I would say provided for maximum code reliability, you can construct your own Oracle encoder or something like that. You understand how it comes in and how do you do it. Again, I probably would not have really worked on it, so you know. But yeah, this from what I've known, this is the best ways.
Oh, okay. I always know input validation work for SQL and
Yeah,
cross-site scripting.
yeah. So here you can find out, like, you know, for even for XSS, you'll have something here. Okay, sorry. Where is it? Cross-site scripting prevention. Rule number 1: never insert untrusted data except the allowed locations. Deny all. Never input trust here. Okay, you can say HTTP encode before inserting untrusted data into HTTP element content. So attribute encode before inserting untrusted data into HTML common attributes. Java encoded before inserting, and yeah. So you can use multiple multiple cheat sheets are there. You can go probably read it from here. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. I'll try to help you out.
Okay. So how about this question is always asked, was your home network like? What are they actually looking for?
So your home network is so how you have set up your home network. So you have set up a lab. Okay, how you have set up a lab? You know, you have got is it connected to the internet? How you have got, if you got multiple VMs, how you have connected these multiple VMs, right? And you got some monitoring software installed on it, like IDS, IPS, or a honeypot or something like that, right? And then, you know, why are you using your lab? So the question is, like, why are you using your lab? What is the primary reason for using the lab? To practice, or to test out tools. So for that, you can say that, my home lab looks like, I've got uh, four virtual machines, all are connected, all are connected among each other, and then using a VNAT or something like that, and they can internet talk, but they can't go out to internet with this specific configuration. And I use one machine to run my firewall, and point out that is a gateway for them to connect to anywhere else for that matter. And then I use run my SIM in there. I've got configured my firewall or router to use a VPN connection or something like that, and that's what they look for.
All right, that sounds good.
Okay. Any other questions?
Well, I don't really have much in my head to ask right now.
No
Uh, but
problems.
but like if you ask about HTTP,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Is that what else can I talk about HTTP? I only know HTTP is a hypertext transfer protocol.
Yeah.
So is there something else I could talk about it?
So
Like,
see, yeah. So what happens in a HTTP is, when a HTTP request comes, you will have multiple factors in that, right? You'll have your server where it's coming from, your content type, right? again based on the requirement, like based on what is the standard HTTP responses looks like, right? So but what was the question, like what do you understand, what do you need to understand about HTTP?
But like when they ask what's the difference between HTTP and HTTPS?
Yeah, HTTP is a unreliable protocol, right?
Right.
And HTTPS is a secure way of it. So why it's secure? Because you use digital certificates in HTTPS connection, right? So if you see here HTTP, and it says for every HTTPS you'll have a digital certificate, and that certificate is the one which will help you encrypt the connection between you and the web server.
Right.
And that's the difference. HTTPS basically runs on port 443 using a SSL certificate or a TLS certificate, and then HTTP doesn't use any certificate. It's just like plain text, open source. There is no security.
Okay, I mean, okay, I guess that's just something I could say. I was just wondering maybe if there's more to it.
Oh yeah, I mean, probably the more question is like, how do you think HTTPS really works?
How do you think HTTPS really works? Wow.
Yeah, HTTPS. Okay. So if you look at it, where is that? Oh, sorry. Yeah, if you look at here, your HTTPS communication is like, your syncAC client says hello, certificate hello comes, and your certificate hello is done. Your client exchange key, cipher key is done. Your changing cipher spec is done. Application data. Then so you go through this process of handshake and then certificate handshake as certificate exchange as well.
Oh, okay. So they go through the three-way handshake.
Yeah, yeah. Like establish,
Yeah.
exactly. They have to go through these phases of, the certificate chaining, the certificate exchange is also there.
Okay.
Right. So if I say how HTTP work, that's it. Request HTTP page to server ABCD. And then it says original. If then modified, request original, sends update, and then the receive page. There is nothing in between who will verify your server. Client, server, get request, get request. It's a post request, it's a post request. That's it.
Okay.
So HTTP will not encrypt because that extra level of encryption is not there. Then it doesn't do anything else.
All right.
Yeah. Client, request and response. That's it. There's for every HTTP there's a response and request. There's a request and a response. And then what you'll do is you look for your HTTPS status codes. So if you look at here, user agents. So say request chain, single connection, response chain, user agent. How am I connecting? What is that? So your HTTP sessions. Yeah. So HTTP is simple. Yeah, so if you see here, this is a basic example. Browser request for secure page, HTTPS. Web server sends the public key to with the certificate. Browser ensures that the certificate is unexpired, uninvoked, issued by a trusted party. Browser creates a symmetric key and sends it back to the server. Web server decrypts the symmetric key, uses it using its private key. Web server sends the page encrypted with its symmetric key, and then browser decrypts the page using symmetric key and displays the information to the user. This is part of your tutorial point, like the site which I gave you earlier. You can go through this one. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Anything else?
Well, I don't really think at the moment I have something else because we've kind of touched so many things there that I really appreciate. But I don't know. I'm just kind of wondering from your experience, is there something about SOC investigation that might likely get asked about, like maybe where so instead of like, I don't know, I'm just asking because I mean, since you have more experience, like instead of using maybe like SIEM, if you don't have this SIEM, do you go about um oh, okay, let me ask this first. Okay, let me ask this first. So Syslog, Syslog is it where all the logs are being found, the email log, uh uh like every log is found in the syslog, or is it just a particular log there? Something is found in it. I don't know if you got my question right.
So Syslog is basically for your firewall logs. Your email logs will not come in your Syslog.
Syslog is basically for your firewall log.
Yes.
Okay.
Your network logs and everything else will go into your Syslog server, like your router, firewall, switches, everything will go into your this thing in your Syslog, and from there on you'll ingest into SIEM, and then from there on you'll work on it.
They don't really work. Yeah, okay, because everything goes on the same.
Yeah, everything goes to SIEM, and then so Syslog will just a dump is a location where you dump all the logs. You can't just use that logs because there are tons and tons of logs. How will you query or correlate the logs? You cannot. But if you have a log place which Splunk can go and pull the logs from, and then give it by the field names, like how Splunk gives you, that's how you'll use the logs. But if I give you a Syslog server, you'll not be able to make any sense of it. But yeah, you should have Syslog to store your logs from all the different routers and switches and firewalls. And then you connect the Syslog to your SIEM solution, which is Splunk or ArcSight or QRadar or whatever that is.
Okay, so there, right there, that's you just said right now. Because in my head, I will always be thinking that Syslog is where all the logs, even emails log are found. But
No. So, I mean, like, so 1 second, let me see. So, okay. Let me look at an example. Yeah, let me share my screen. Now you see this?
Oh, yes, that's it.
Yeah. So you see the firewall router switches, they all send it to Syslog. Syslog forward it to the manager, the log manager, and then your SIEM uses this location here.
Okay.
Right? So you have your network devices, network device send it to Syslog. Syslog will again, create triggers to an alert for specific conditions.
So basically, Syslog is for network devices.
Yes.
So where can I find like instead of different types of, maybe I could just Google that. So different types of blog that SOC is involved with, like this now firewall has to do with Syslog, and I guess
your question is what type of logs will SOC deal with?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying here. This is what it is. your IDS IPS logs, your perimeter firewall logs, your email logs, your antivirus logs.
Oh.
Right? And your for proxy logs, so you can say log sources for SIEM, right? Basic question, fun, good stuff. Yeah. So you can look at infrastructure devices, security devices, server logs, web server logs, authentication server log, hypervisor, containers, and all these things. If not, if you can go dig deeper. There you go. Your security events, network events, application device, IT infrastructures, right? So you have examples of this one: VPN connection filters, firewall logs, data prevention, antivirus, switches, DNS servers, WAN, traffic, VPC, web applications, SaaS, cloud, network maps. So you can look at that as well. Yeah. Logs from your security controls, IDS, IPS, data loss prevention, web filters, log from network infrastructure, router switches, non-IT infrastructures, network maps, basic business infrastructure. So almost the same thing, but put in different perspective.
Okay. Well, I've always believed that Syslog is where all the logs comes in. Like I don't even know it's just network devices.
Oh no. So typical architecture of a SIEM. I don't know why this image is blurred out. Not really.
Well, I mean, I can look into that since you've given me the idea that Syslog is well everything. So I'll just Google different types of logs.
Right. Yeah, you can do that. That'll work out differently.
Yeah. I didn't really check it. I didn't really check it because I just felt like, oh, all the logs are in Syslog, so I don't bother myself to look at it.
Oh no,
So,
no.
Yeah.
You have different type of logs going different places. So
Yeah, different. Well, that's good. So for network devices, it's so if they ask me, it's some. I mean, like you said, they won't definitely. You wouldn't go into the logs. You have to use this the same.
yes.
So, but like normally, if they ask you, oh, where's net firewall logs are found, you can say syslog, or can you say firewall log?
Yeah, you can say you can say firewall logs will come into syslog, and from there on it'll get routed to then it'll be available in my SIEM.
In the same.
Yeah.
Okay, and the email logs will be found in email log, and then sent to the SIEM.
Yeah. Email logs will come from a different log source again.
All right.
Yeah, email logs will come from a different log source then.
Okay, that makes more sense to me right now.
Yeah.
Well, I guess for now, I don't know what else I don't know what else that you want me to know. But now I don't have much question again because
No, I think keep your mind open, just relax, and then probably go from whatever we have talked about. If you have a good understanding, then go give it a shot and see. Try to explain them. In like detail, like what you have done and what your understanding is, and say if they really like it. And if they ask like what do you want to do next, tell them the path that I want to learn about networking, then web application, and or operating systems, Windows and Linux, understand how they were built, what is like understanding the forensics of it, then go to web application, then go to malware analysis, and then finally try to understand cloud and how do I do cloud and everything else. So that gives them a perspective that yes, you are looking, you have a path forward for you to understand, including that you want to go into scripting like bash scripting or PowerShell scripting or whatever that is. so that you understand, or they say that, oh, now you know what, we found someone who's really interested to learn something.
Okay, so I could just I want to learn PowerScript. So normally it's not everybody that knows, every SOC analyst that knows PowerScript.
Yeah, PowerShell not everybody even know, but it's
Okay.
good. It's good to know. That's it.
Okay, so I could just say, oh, okay, I'm just learning
Yeah.
PowerScript now.
Yeah, I'm interested to learn, but I've not started it because
Yeah.
since I'm just trying to figure out what my skill sets are and what the SOC does. So your focus was on SOC, what it does, and then my goal is to read all these books and also focus on PowerShell, and then like understanding what PowerShell is and the capabilities of it. So
Okay. Well, I think I feel a bit relieved. I feel like, okay, maybe I've already known everything about SOCs already. I guess that's not true too, but maybe next time, maybe I will just okay, when I download my VM, so we could really do the malware analysis. So I could really, okay, this is how to investigate. If there are a lot of triggers, this is what to do first. I know first of all, like you say, you have to dig into the that IP address or that alert and find out if it has occurred before, find out the history or what happened, why the alert triggers and all that, like you said before.
Yep.
So you can use we said abuse IP shutdown to really work on the IP, both the source IP and the destination and the port to find out the vulnerability.
Yep.
Then you can build up from there.
Yep.
So I guess maybe the next time when I set up I have my VM already, maybe next meeting, then after my interview today, we can really build on there, like the investigation aspect of it. So I really have more confidence. I mean, I really got more confidence, like you said, that abuse IP, because I thought like, okay, maybe use the Nessus. I remember that you said Nessus you can't use it on your company's network. So that's like something good too that I know about that one, because I didn't know. So now I had to use showdown abuse IP to do all that. So like I said, like maybe the next one when I get my VM, who could help me, show me like, okay, this is how you do it. This is what you do. This is how you verify that this is the malware. This is how you know this is not a normal traffic. I mean, I guess that should be like the next thing. I mean, because basically you've covered everything, like touched about everything. So you kind of like give me a little more confidence than I was before. So
awesome. Yeah, that's great. Perfect.
like
Yeah.
said,
Again, if you have any questions, do let us know. We'll try to answer over the weekend, and then we can think about how do you want to meet next time.
okay, all right, that's fine.
Perfect.
And
Okay.
sorry, and we talked about event ID. Those event IDs are for Windows, right?
Yeah, event IDs could be for primarily event IDs, or event codes could be for Windows if you're looking at Windows logs.
Oh, okay, event IDs for the Windows logs. So basically, when you're doing your investigation, you could search by Windows ID to know, right?
Yeah, you need to know the Windows IDs. Yes.
Okay, all right, that's good for now.
Yep. I'm gonna share the Windows event IDs with Ravi on the email. He will probably share it back with you.
Okay.
Yeah. Use cases. Yep. I will say Ravi. Okay. Awesome.
All right.
Thank you. You have a good weekend. Good luck.
Appreciate it. Thank
Good
you.
luck. Have a good luck. Probably,
Yes.
I think you have all the good luck. Probably you'll crack it.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Thank you, Ravi.
I think solid preparation the last 3-4 days. I think Kumar, thanks so much for spending time. Good luck.
Kumar.
Be as confident as you can. I think you should be able to do justice. Okay. All the very best to you.
All right. Thanks, sir. All
Yep.
right. Kumar, thank you.